Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda Sarai, and we're gonna dive into the Samhain portal. The veil is thin. It's the thinnest of the thin right now. We have essentially a portal within a portal, or a double portal, because we're working with both the astrological Samhain energies, which are from November 7th through the 13th. Solar and lunar Samhain are on those dates. And we also have the 11/11 portal on Saturday in the midst of the Samhain portal, and those portal days are open for about a week in full force. So they're overlapping, and the energies are literally opening up this portal and thinning the veil as more and more revelations are coming through. This is truly the time of revelations. I just saw 111 on the timer, can't make it up. So you can go back to my previous video about the 11/11/11 portal. So numerology amplifies it by the Trinity aspect instead of just 11/11, which is already powerful enough. So we have that coming through. And then of course the Samhain portal, which is the time of year when the veil is the thinnest. And I think that's also why, not just from the numerology, but the 11/11 portal is so powerful, because it falls within this time frame every year. Whether or not it's directly in the middle of the portal though, but this year we have amplified energetics working with us as we're being thrust forward into this new earth, this incredibly intense eclipse season behind us. Saturn went direct on the 4th, and we're working with so many other powerful energies that are just amplifying the lifting of the veil and the ascension energies coming through to help us purge our systems. And I just saw 222. So there's a lot working through us at this time. So I also want to just start off by addressing the dates here. So Samhain, most people associate with Halloween, which is not inaccurate. Calendar Samhain is the 31st, 1st, 2nd. Those are the primary dates. The November 1st is the Day of the Dead. So this is a time where we honor our ancestors, and because the veil is thin, we can commune and connect with them more directly. So this is how it all intertwines. But then we bring in the astrology, so the portal day the days can actually shift a bit because of the alignments. So solar Samhain was November 7th this year, and the lunar Samhain is the 13th. So that's why we are in the midst of the portal now. And last night, so we also have Venus descending into the rose gate of the throat. So last night I woke up in the middle of the night actually to take the puppies out, and I went out, and the moon, beautiful crescent moon, was so illuminated, so bright, it almost looked fake, honestly. And there was this bright star right next to it, and I realized, oh, that's Venus. It was just this like bright energy in the sky and in the middle of the night, and I was just blown away almost by the beauty, but also the potent illumination that was coming through. So let's get into what Venus at the rose gate of the throat actually means, and the rest of the Samhain energies. Yeah, so much. So this is obviously, the throat chakra is the seat of our authentic truth and expression. So this is how we express ourselves to the world. And this is also one of our centers of creation, because our words are casting spells. So this is a time for spell casting and magic making. We always associate this time of year with the season of the witch, right? So it's the witch's holiday. But we're talking about good white magic, of course. But this is a time for powerful ritual ceremony, and if you like to call it spell casting, but of course with the intention, and you know, we can look at it as manifestation, because what we speak out into the world we create. So this is the masculine center of creation. The chakras all have a particular polarity to them because we're expressing, and it's an outward projection. It is more of that masculine energy. So what we speak and the resonance behind our words is powerful. There is power behind our words. So this is why we are casting spells constantly with our words and our thoughts and our emotions, and it's all based in frequency, the frequency of sound. So it's really quite powerful when you actually attune to the energies that are working through these centers. And as Venus descends into the rose gate of the throat center, the seat of our truth, we are being called to really examine, as we go through this descent into the underworld energy, to examine what wants to be cleared and released that is blocking us from authentically expressing our truth. And it doesn't always have to be through words. It can be through the authentic expression of our being on any level and in any form. So what we create, the words that we write, if we're writers, painting, business, what are we birthing into the world? What are we expressing into the world? This is a powerful time to illuminate what is blocking our deepest truth from being expressed, and what are the shadows, the emotional wounds and patterns. What happened when we were children that prevented us from feeling safe from expressing that truth. This also goes into the witch wound on some level, because the witches were persecuted for operating. And witch, to be really clear, has been really, the term and the association has been incredibly distorted. It was typically associated with healer. So the witches were the healers. They were the ones that were connected with the earth and were primarily women. So this is why they were persecuted by the patriarchal religions, right? I just dropped my pen. Mic drop. So, so these portals, these high holy days are really calling us to attune to nature, to earth, to her cycles and her rhythms. And when we actually connect with the energies, this is why they're considered to be portal days, because the veil thins at these times, because we are connecting above and below in the way that the cycles of nature guide us to. So we've become very disconnected from the cycles of nature and the cycles of the seasons, right? So when we do that, we really block ourselves from being in our most natural state and our most authentic state. That's just what's coming through. So the church, the religion shifted our attention away from the actual days of alignment, and around most of the original high holy days, we now have holidays that essentially add a layer of distortion to the true energetics underlying. So descending into the underworld at this time is part of what we do at the Samhain portal into the womb space, if you will, the womb, the void of the womb of creation itself. This is where we connect with the infinite possibilities and potentialities that are waiting to be birthed through us by connecting with that 0 point field, if you want to look at it from the quantum perspective. So as the veil thins, it illuminates not just the shadows that need to be cleared and want to be integrated and healed, but also what is ready to be birthed within us. What are the seeds of potential that are wanting to be nourished and nurtured? So this is the time of really nurturing those seeds and putting those visions out into the world, speaking them, writing them, expressing them in some manner. and also to really reflect. So this is a time for stillness and reflection, and it's a time to be willing to enter the unknown, the void space of the unknown, with trust and courage, knowing that we are being guided and held and protected by this mother energy. The dark feminine isn't something to fear. It is something to lean into, to allow ourselves to be nurtured and nourished in the womb once again. So we're working with the aspects of the ascent and the descent, but this is really primarily the descent to help us really attune to what is ready to be cleared so that we can birth. And this is that death and rebirth energy now coming through. Release and completion and letting go. This trust and surrender energy is really coming through very palpably in the collective, especially right now, especially this year at this time, and the collective awakening and ascension that is happening in humanity. The energies are very intense. I've been feeling them very much the past couple days, especially as the heaviness is just kind of being amplified because we are being asked to clear it. So as a transmuter, I often feel that, it kind of builds up. I 11:11 on the clock, just for the record. I know a lot of other people do that as well. We act as transmuters for the collective. So it's a lot, but it's helping to heal humanity from a grander perspective. So we are lighting the way forward. And in order to do that, we must be willing to face the shadows head on and have the courage to do so, because this is how the light becomes fully illuminated. It becomes whole and complete by integrating the shadows. So many people want to bypass, they just want to focus on the light and the love and the beauty and the magic. And of course, that's the direction we're being guided in. And in order to do that in a grounded and embodied way, we have to go through those shadows. We have to go through the portal of darkness if we want to actually truly embody that with integrity and authenticity. And authenticity has been coming up more and more as something that we are being called to really lean into, to express ourselves authentically, to move through the world with authenticity. It has been lacking even in the spiritual awakening conscious community in a very profound way in some cases. So I just came across this idea of authenticity being the most powerful vibration. So they actually have studied this. Most of us associate it with love, which is valid. It's a powerful vibrational frequency. Love, it is the source of all, and it's the energy of all. Puppy agrees. So Puppy is being attracted right now to this conversation. But the Spain Scale of Emotion Project, if you want to look into it, they found that the most powerful frequency leaving the body, 4,000 times more powerful than love, in fact, this is how sophisticated the tools were, was actually authenticity. So we have to go through love in order to achieve authenticity. So this is why it's an incredibly powerful frequency. It's the illumination of our deepest soul truth is what that is in a maybe a little bit more spiritual, fluffy term. But authenticity is so, so powerful right now. So with the Venus at the throat chakra as well, we're being really called again to clear any blocks to that authenticity, to that authentic expression of truth and of speaking words of harmony and love and healing into the world. How can we hold our boundaries firm while maintaining a frequency of harmony and not getting pulled into the drama and the triggered reaction energy that many are trying to siphon us into? So I know a lot of light workers have been tested hardcore in the last few years, and many of us have dealt with very narcissistic dynamics, to attach one label to it. Demonic type entities and energies projecting all sorts of nonsense onto us. And it's the projection energy. It's actually their stuff that we are either reflecting back to them or that is triggering the demon within them, if you want to use that terminology, and they think we're the problem. So it's actually assisting us in getting really clear and grounded in our authentic truth and holding those boundaries firm. This is what it means to be a light warrior. We're not necessarily going to, bring out the best in everyone if they haven't dealt with their own shadows. We often trigger what is wanting to be examined and integrated within them and healed within them. Many people aren't ready for it. And so thus we have this massive gaslighting and projection happening within the community, the world at large. Anybody who is operating in a frequency of love and authenticity is kind of being targeted and preyed upon, and that might sound a little intense, but trust that we're also protected on this journey as long as we hold our frequency and actually dig in and do this work. And this is what the Samhain portal is really assisting us in doing, is that shadow work, that deeper shadow work, going into that womb space. So I do have some resources that are linked below that would be really helpful during this time. Integrating Duality is a shadow work guide with a golden flame integration meditation that came through on the equinox, guided by the light and dark goddesses. So that duality aspect coming through, and it is perfectly aligned with this time in particular, this time of year, this thinning of the veil, as what is wanting to be illuminated is coming to the surface and being revealed to us, the truth about the people around us, the truth that is wanting to be birthed from within, and the truth about the shadows that we still hold as well. So much is coming to light, and it's all in service of our highest good, of our greatest empowerment. So the more that we do this work, the more that we emanate that frequency of love and authenticity and harmony into the world. So this is actually something that we dove into in a great deal of depth yesterday as well in Align and Shine, the throat and the womb space, the sacral chakras as the centers of creation, and how to work with those yin yang centers, and then bringing in the Holy Trinity creation aspect when we bring in the heart. So unblocking these creation centers and allowing the energy to flow, this is what we were really diving deep into yesterday, and the recording is there. It's not too late. It's never too late, because everything is recorded and available, and there's a lot. The Integrating Duality is inside that container as well, plus a ton of other resources. Last week's call was beautiful as well, and we have 2 more live. So if you're feeling called to really go deep into your creation capacity and to clear the blocks that might exist, the shadows that are perhaps just creating this veil of illusion within as far as your capacity to do so, this will really assist with that. And yes, it's just a really beautiful, beautiful experience. And the meditation activation that came through, it's like a healing, clearing meditation. I didn't know it was going to come through, and it was honestly, it was different from my norm, and it was so beautiful. So that's available inside as well. So what else? Yes, we are being just called to speak up with integrity and truth. And it doesn't always mean that we have to do so publicly, but we are being called to use our voices to heal and to use our creation centers to birth creations of love and harmony into the world, creations that assist in the healing for humanity as a whole. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to show up and to dive in and go deeper into the void space, because most people do fear that. We don't want to go deep. We want the quick fix, and that's clearly not serving, right? Coping isn't healing. Putting a Band-Aid on a symptom isn't healing. The only way to heal is to really go through it, right? And it's entirely liberating. And as I always say, the deeper we dive, the higher we rise. And so that is the possibility that lies on the other side. That is the light at the end of the tunnel that is waiting for us, but we have to go through the tunnel in order to get there. So onward and upward in love and light. And remember, I have all sorts of resources linked below. So thank you again so much. Likes, comments, subscribes are so deeply appreciated. Much more to come, including these shadow wounds that we have been healing, especially the Lightworker Collective. So stay tuned, onward and upward in love and light, and I will see you soon.